Snowflakes in the Wind, written by Rita Bradshaw, read by Janine Birkett. Author's Note. Until I began my research for this story, I had a general, if somewhat vague, understanding of the part women played in the Second World War, and much of the information concentrated on the European conflict. When I found books and other research data that focused on the women who were captured and interned in the Far East, it literally opened my eyes to a period of history that was stomach-turning. Most of it was painful and horrifying to read, but one thing was paramount. Through it all, women displayed a courage and resilience that puts paid to the idea that we are the weaker sex. I decided to take the QAs, Queen Alexandra's Imperial Military Nursing Service, as the main focus. But of course, alongside them stood thousands of ordinary women and children who found themselves caught up in the conflict and thrown into the Japanese camps. None of them could have expected the horrors that were to come. Raped, beaten, tortured, humiliated and treated as subhuman, both the women soldiers and civilians were extraordinarily courageous. Starvation and crippling disease were a daily burden, with violence and brutality always just round the corner. The Japanese forced some women to become sex slaves, whilst others were tortured to death by the sadistic Kempei Tai, the Japanese military police. Those who survived the death camps, where so many died, were scarred mentally and sometimes physically for the rest of their lives. This was real life in all its raw savagery and pain, and it is impossible for any story to do them credit. When we look at white-haired pensioners, few in number now, who survived the conflict, we have no idea of what they went through, or the grit and selfless acts of extreme courage they displayed, because they rarely talk about it. As one veteran said to me, "We just got on with it, that's all." That's what you do. I hope that is what we would do these days, but I wonder. In an age when we are encouraged to put self first because we deserve it, and have-a-go heroes are in the minority, would the modern world respond with the amazing qualities of self-reliance, self-sacrifice and sheer guts those people did? We are fortunate to have known only relative peace after all. However much our opinions may differ about that, I hope this story shows credit to those who perished and those who survived, because I am in awe of their spirit. Lullaby. There's snowflakes in the wind, my bonny babby. Snowflakes in the wind, my little lamb. But don't you fret, don't you cry. The sun will come out by and by. Until then, I'll keep you warm, my bonny babby. Part 1. No Going Back, 1920. Chapter 1. Where the hell was she? Gone 8 o'clock on Christmas Eve and she wasn't home yet. Did she think he was that much of a fool, did she? Edgar Kirby ground his teeth, his hands gripping the wooden arms of the old armchair he was sitting in, so that his knuckles showed white through the skin. The chair was one of 2 positioned either side of the fire in the black-leaded range in a kitchen that, although shabby, was spotlessly clean. Some effort to mark the season was evident in the paper chains criss-crossing under the ceiling, and the grate held a good fire of glowing slack and coal that the draught from the chimney kept bright. 2 gas mantles, on one whitewashed wall, hissed and popped now and again as they shed their limited light over the room, and the smell of the pot roast in the oven was mouth-watering. Anyone entering the kitchen would have been struck by its simple coziness, from the thick clippy mat the armchairs stood on, to the sunshine-yellow flock cushions positioned on the battered 6-foot wooden settle set
Sample complete. Ready to continue?